Thank you. Good afternoon to the Tuskegee Main Street Homeowners Association. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to introduce myself and share why I'm a candidate for mayor of our city, or the city of Tuskegee. I'm a native son of Tuskegee. I was born and reared in Tuskegee, have lived in Tuskegee all my life, attended the public schools in Macon County and graduated the public schools and attended Faulkner University and eventually graduated from Faulkner University with a BS degree in business administration with a minor in business management, and I'm a magna cum laude graduate. My background is basically a business person and have been a business person. Let me say this, I'm a salesperson / business person. I think that's important, and you'll know more why that's important as a candidate for mayor a little down the road. But started off as a car salesperson while in college, and then eventually opened my own car business in Tuskegee, Alabama in 1991. And since 1991, we've operated 3 multiple locations of automobile business in the pre-owned and Chevrolet Oldsmobile franchise in Tallahassee, Alabama. My background is also construction. My brother and I have operated a construction company for about 15 years, and we do federal work for the federal government. And after working with my brother's company for about 15 years, I've started my own company in Tuskegee in 2017 to continue doing work for the federal government. And that's mostly construction, all types of construction work. And we previously did a lot of environmental type work, asbestos, lead, and mold abatement. But I wanted to do something a little different. So I kind of ventured off on my own to do construction and site work and some architectural design work. I have served on the Tuskegee City Council from 1996 to 2000. I served as the city's Planning Commission chairman from 2002 until 2016. I've served on the board of directors as a secretary for the Tuskegee Area Chamber of Commerce from 1996 up into 2011. So that's about 15 years on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce. And I am a U.S. Army veteran and an Eagle Scout. So that's a little bit about my background information. And now I'd like to kind of share with you why I'm a candidate for mayor in the city of Tuskegee. I'm a candidate for mayor because I have observed how our city has declined over the past few years. I have a substantial investment in our community. There are certain things that have transpired more recently that have concerned me, and I just don't feel that government is addressing the issues we have in our community.
Okay,
So
hold a second, Harvey. Why don't you turn the other computer? I'm getting feedback. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
okay, so my first priority and my #1 item for my platform is the 911 system in the city of Tuskegee. And it appears that a lot of people are aware of the problem, but they're not trying to solve the problem. And not sure, and I'm certainly hopeful that none of you have had to try to use 911 from your cell phone. But and I hate to, and I'm sorry that I'm the one to share with you if you were not aware. But if you happen to need 911 and you dial from your cell phone, you may or may not get an answer. And it's a problem that I've had more of my share of experiences with various times trying to dial 911, and it's been an issue. And so 911, I have made it the #1 platform issue for me as candidate for mayor. The number 2 item is, it coincides with 911 and is an urgent healthcare facility in Tuskegee. I don't think that we're large enough to support a hospital, but an urgent care facility that's open after 5 o'clock, and an urgent care facility that will address if a citizen should have a major medical problem like a heart attack, stroke, diabetic shock, gunshot, stab wounds, can be stabilized and then transported to a hospital of their family's choice. The next item is repair and pave the streets in the city. And the number 4 is to enhance the beautification of our city. And I'll start with the one on, just on Main, let's just start with Main Street. Homeowners Association. There's a home on Main Street that has been burned out probably for 7 or 8 years, and the city has not enforced the abatement ordinance to have that home torn down on Main Street, and it's the gateway entering our city coming from Union Springs, Alabama. And although we'd like to beautify the entire city, my focus will be on the 4 main entrances entering and exiting our city, should be the highlighted areas of what our community represents, those main entrances. And that's what people see when they don't stop, but they're just passing through and travelers. And those are the welcoming mats of our city. And I just think they should be as beautiful as they can be on a daily basis. That trash and garbage that's put out on the side of the roads, on the main thoroughfares, they should be checked daily where there's not debris on the side of the road for several days of the week. I'd like to increase the relationship with businesses that the city of Tuskegee has. There's not a good business relationship with businesses that are in Tuskegee and businesses that come here on a part-time basis to do business in the city. We don't have a business-friendly environment currently from city government. Another goal of mine is to build a Head Start facility. Appropriations were appropriated in 2009 to build a $2.1 million Head Start. The federal government, Department of Health and Human Services appropriated $2.1 million for the city. The Head Start purchased the funds, purchased a property, which is at the corner of Taylor Street and Franklin Road. They purchased a property from Tuskegee University. The site work was done for the property. A sign was erected that the building would be completed August of 2010. And today, there's no building for the Head Start. So in short, I plan to be a mayor for the entire city. I plan to be a mayor that addresses needs and concerns from our Head Start children to our eldest citizen, which is my understanding is 100 years of age. If there's someone older, I'm not aware. But my information tells me that our eldest citizen in the city is 100 years of age. And I plan to have social recreation programs for youth from age 3 to that 100-year-old citizen in the Maryville subdivision. And that's in short, I think. And one other item, 2 other items. One, I would like to recruit a community bank to Tuskegee. And finally, I would like to implement 2 other items, a 311 phone number, so that citizens can have a phone number to call without having to speak to a live person. They can leave their complaints, their concerns, or their compliments to city government, which would be a 311 phone number where they can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'd like to support the local school system from city government. There's not much cooperation between city government and the local school system currently. And I think that's the gist of what my platform is all about. And I'll answer questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chappell, for that overview. Does anybody have Any questions?
This is Herbert. I have a question. Thank you for that introduction and explanation of your platform, but a lot of things you just described requires money, and without money, you're going to be limited. So my question is, how do you expect to raise funds for this, and what are your plans for bringing new business to Tuskegee? We already have a sales tax of 11%, so to me, raising tax, of course, I have a question. So how do you expect to bring in money, bring business to Tuskegee?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Maddox, for that question. And I personally don't think, and I have the finances, I don't think that the city has a financial problem as much as we have a priority problem and a mismanagement problem. The city, when I served on the city council 20 years ago, the city's budget was $6 million. The budget today is $9.2 million for the city and a $2.4 million for Head Start, and the budget for the utility system is $24 million. So the total current operation of monies that the city has is $35 million. For a community with 8,400 citizens, I think $35 million, if it was prioritized and managed properly, most communities our size don't have access to $35 million, and that doesn't include any potential grant writing for projects for our city. And you're correct, our current sales tax rate is 11.5% sales tax. And I will do all I can to try to work and collaborate with the school board and county government to come up with solutions to solve problems without having the highest sales tax in the state of Alabama. So that's one item that discourages businesses from wanting to locate in the city. But I've already talked to several businesses. I think if Tuskegee had a business person at the helm of city government that understood business and business people and how we think, I think we'll bring businesses. But we have to do some things as a city, and we have to do things as a community. We have to clean up the community, because I think it's, really kind of silly for us to say that, we want someone to come and invest $5 million, $3 million, or really $100,000 in a city that it appears from other people that have visited our community before, we don't care about our own community, because we won't cut the grass, we won't pick up the paper, we won't pave the streets, we won't fix the potholes like they should be fixed. So we have to show business people that we care about ourselves and we're making an investment in our community, and then it will encourage other people to invest in us. And that's the part of me being a salesperson. I think I can sell Tuskegee because we have a lot of assets and we could be a great little city. And I'm a pretty good salesperson. I can sell it, but it's very difficult to sell the community when it looks abandoned, as if no one cares about it.
I have a question.
5 minutes. Noah, you ask your question quickly, please.
Okay. One of the things I always thought was missing here, we don't have any kind of developers coming to this town. Most people have developers that look at it and come down. Are you able to maybe bring some developers in? Do you know any developers that might want to do something in our town?
I have relationships with several developers. I've already talked to several of them. But one thing you have to do with this, and our city, as former chairman of the Planning Commission and as a business person, you have to have, I went in business when I was, 25, 24 years old, and I had a business plan. The city does not have a business plan. They do not have a business person. They don't have a person at all that's recruiting business. They depend strictly on the Macon County Economic Development Authority to do all of the business recruiting for the entire county. Well, it's good to be a part of that organization because the city has an appointment to that board. But when the person comes and the industry comes, this is what happens with the Macon Economic Development Authority. That person, Joe Turnham, shows the developer the entire county. And then that developer decides which location in the county he chooses to represent. Well, no one from the city is able to show why the person should be in Tuskegee versus Shorter, Tuskegee versus Notasulga, or to Tuskegee versus Franklin. So for one, the Tuskegee has an industrial development board that I don't think no one has been appointed to it in the past 8 years. The font board. So I need our own person trying to sell the city, the industrial development board, along with a person like me as mayor to sell the city.
Thank you.
If I may ask one last quick question, please. Mr. Chappell, were you aware that the EMS 911 system, as well as the community healthcare and emergency system, are, as a rule, administered by the county and not by the city?
Yes, ma'am. But, and I have contacted members of the E911 board. I've contacted, ever since I learned of the problem, for at least a year now, I've been making contact with the E911 board members, with the EMA director, Mr. Frank Lee. They are aware of the problem. And so I just feel that I need to use the power and the position of the mayor because they're not listening to me as a citizen or as a business owner. I've had a member at my church to die as a result of the 911 not operating properly. We had I've just been on the end of 911, and many other citizens and law enforcement, they're aware of the problem, but they're just not taking it serious enough to address it. And as mayor, I think that by the office of the mayor, it would be able to put more pressure on whomever to get the 911 system fixed. Yes, it's a county problem, but we live on Main Street. So when you need 911, I don't think you're going to be worried about whether it's a state problem or a county problem. It's a Main Street problem when you dial 911 and no one answers the phone.
Okay, guys, we're going to have to wrap this up. Want to thank Mr. Chappell for his time. If someone wants to contact you, will you give us the authority to share your email address with that person?
Absolutely. Email or my phone number. My phone number is, and my campaign is 1707 pothole. And you can dial me at that number because pothole is a big issue in street paving. And like I said, the city, let me say this regarding potholes real quickly. The city receives from each gallon of gasoline that each of us purchases in the city of Tuskegee. There's a 4-cent gasoline tax, a 7-cent gasoline tax. There's a capital improvement tax that comes to the city of Tuskegee monthly from the state of Alabama. The only thing that you can do by law, only expense you can expend with that money by state law, Code of Alabama 1975, is paving and resurfacing streets. And it's difficult for me for the city to receive $250,000 per year for street paving, but they only budget in their budget to spend $50,000 a year.
Well, that's certainly something for us to chew on. We thank you again for your time and hope you have a great evening.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all for
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
for the opportunity. Yes, thank you. And don't forget, vote Rozell Chappell for mayor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Y'all have a good evening.